Welcome to our lovely future humans, those who know all about emotional, intelligent minds and emotional, intelligent hearts. And why do we thrive? By doing it for ourselves? Well, because that's the whole point. It's when you're being yourself that you're magnetic, charismatic, and you don't need no laws, but you do need one very, very fundamental truth. Do you have a body connected? So if you're doing good resilience, then you're going to be one of our lovely 5D collective members. If you're doing bad resilience, you can move into doing good resilience. Means Dr. Amy Pegan is somebody who you want, because the body that is in protective mode doesn't get out of it by itself. So when you learn, I'm attachment science informed, what it means for people to have child parts and then for them not to own them and to stay adaptive child part, that's why we see the divisiveness and people just yelling at each other and basically envy, jealousy, spite, insecurity. So when someone spreads rumors about yoga bringing demons out of you because they had a bad decentralizing in the self religious experience, you know Patrick McNamara has an answer for the person. So does Peter Levine. So do I. It's called the fear receptor in the brain's going wonky. They're non-bilaterally integrated. Their trauma charges are bountiful, and they had some of it come up. And then they got to see things, sensations, images, behaviors, affects, meanings, and they gave their imagination and everything that came up a meaning, which was yoga brings demons out of you because they told me that. Like tarot, it's tarot's bad, evil, demons, oh, Reiki, bad. And so when you meet those who are adaptive child part, because they don't know how to read, you know, see, when you know how to read, you know they're just words. Then you also know what qualitative data is versus quantitative data. So when it comes to a bunch of stuff, about 70%, probably, I don't even know, or 95% of what is out there, and we got a 5% that is actually quantifiable. Okay, so when you're a smart brain, this is why, you know, mysticism, spirituality is a real deal, but we're cool with the woo-woo pseudoscience. You also know scientists are still looking to reassure the flat earthers the earth is round. They don't want to buy it. They don't buy into it. So we leave it alone. In the meantime, cosmic karmic balancing is always at play. So don't worry, the world will not, I believe, implode. Dark matter, dark energy, and asteroids are still being looked into by our smart scientists. And as you do know, we are having a podcast segment for IHP, has a bunch of different things on personal and spiritual growth. In the segment I'm talking about, Maria gets to complain. It's not venting because I'm like venting in the distress. No, it's I'm a 3-year-old with a 16-year-old with a grown-up who's like, I don't want to eat like that. But I've been told that as I age, if I want to look good, no. If I want to feel good and look good, it's all. So vanity, really? Narcissus, anyone? When you're a securely attached and non-traumatized person, you do it for yourself. That's why you do everything for yourself, not to get thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay, so that's how, as a teenager, I'm going to share with you some stories. I remember I got this comment this one day. I had been wearing a little bit of makeup, and they're like, what is wrong with you? I wasn't wearing makeup that day. I said, what? You're not wearing makeup. No, they didn't say that. They're like, what wrong? You got dark circles. And I was like, oh, I don't want people to see me in my natural state and then think I'm sick. And I still have the dark circles. Actually, I learned a technique. I'm supposed to do something like this, the fascia. But anyways, that's a side note. My point is I have raccoon eyes, which I'm cool with because, you know, I could be a little raccoon. Actually, I can be skunk. Where's my... We can do skunk. Let's play. So I love my cards, okay? And so when you're a child inside and you have fun, you actually don't get offended because somebody can say that you look like a skunk. But of course, we all have, you know, that insecurity. So yes, I don't like my body always, and I'm going to make sure that I like it for myself and for my health. You see what I'm saying? So it's not only one thing, it's all things. That's why if you burn bright enough, your limitations will go away. There is no other solution. Life has to be lit, not settled. When you have a open chakra, third eye, all of that crown, you have a solid foundation. Okay, so good resilience means that you're using your child parts. Bad resilience means you're hiding them away, and then they come up, and like Jekyll and Hyde, one day you're happy, one day you're sad, one day you're mad, and one day da-da, and then when it comes to people, that just means they're fakos. So one day you're perfect, the next day you are not. One day you're sweet, the next day you're a bitch. And that's actually something that happens. It's not even funny. It's like, as long as you do no, it doesn't even matter. Because you flip the switch, I'm not flipping it. The person doesn't own their body, they don't own their brain. I got a child in the forefront of me playing out their 0-8-year-old. So when shadow come out to play, I don't play with shadow because it ain't no game. It's just a person who's not doing anything that really matters in that moment, because they actually lack self-reflection, they lack self-awareness, and they lack, above all, self-accountability of regulating their nervous system in the body that would be theirs if only they claimed it and went over the hump like the choo-choo train. So as Dr. Amy Pegan points out, neuroception, even after years of therapy, people will still need the therapist, and they will need to spot themselves and not do shadow work on screen, which is what 4D and 3D are doing, but that's okay. There's always enough voices for all of us. And again, the emotionally intelligent minds with the emotionally thriving, loving hearts are going to be back here. We do it for ourselves, not because others told us to. That's how it works also for a 3-year-old, by the way, and a teenager version of yourself that's smart. It's, look, I know my worth. I'm a little skunk. Guess what? Even if I'm a cockroach, my mother still loves me, because that's the saying for the Neapolitans. And so I knew growing up, it's okay. I can be rejected at 4. I can be disowned at 8. That's fake. And that's being freed from effective realism. And that's why you learn from your past. So when my teenage boyfriend said, you don't believe in God because he's real, you only believe in God because you're afraid of death. No, I don't want to die. That's why I'm afraid of death, but that's not why I believe in God. 1, I was raised with God, you know this. But 2, I believe it in my bones. And then I became a mystic. He doesn't know about the mystic stuff because we're friends, but I'm talking to the partner. And she knows, actually, a little bit more. So you claim your independence, and that's why when you grow up and you stay self-led, you don't change who you are. I said to him, I don't change me. We're going to walk together, and that's where love supports each other. To be free, to be whatever you want, healthfully. Okay, so love is where we will speak that which is the truth, like I did with my friends, the Pinocchio Island friends. Okay, so the miracles are endless, but some people, they won't want to transcend the illusion and move into truth because they don't want to see beyond that which is, So when someone's not stronger than their dysfunctional patterns, when someone's not stronger than their unhealthy self-soothing mechanisms, when someone's not stronger than that which are really, really bad habits, not for just random, because I have no addictions, like with the cigarettes, although people wanted to say that I did. I'm like, you don't live in my body. So I'm okay with smoking. I smoke cigars now just because I have a habit with cigarettes and I know how I use them. Okay, so you know yourself when you're a person who is charismatic, authentic, and not looking for someone to pat you on the back. So your emotional intelligence is not because others need to praise you. Otherwise, you're not really doing it for yourself. Make your dreams a reality. Now, with mindfulness, mindset practices, that's why self-reflection and the power of visualization podcasts, we talked a little bit about that in a short, and then we're going to talk some more about it. It supports people because you are practicing, though, again, eustress. So eustress is very important. Otherwise, you're just pretending. The ones who go to other adaptive child part people, it's because they're all pretending together because they like their fists up. So they will speak words, in fact, that are very clear of their likes and dislikes. Then they follow each other like teenagers do. And while they will talk to you about spirit having your back and God, and then they will keep making good teams and bad teams, you think there's cosmic karmic balancing. God is not flooding the earth. We don't need to be afraid of the feminine wanting to eat us alive because there's no monsters within the creatorship of all of that, which is one creator, by the way. It's a frequency which any enlightened one who is a mystic spiritual will perceive easily. If you are a person of science, please, woo, sort of science is great and dandy. We got a physicist who talks to you about consciousness and entropy and love. So he knows all about it. His name is Thomas Campbell, like I do. And the truth is not fragile. It will always seep through. So what's common denominator? People who do not know. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. So people who do not know how to use their brains because they don't know how to believe in themselves, they don't actually use their minds wisely because, like my Pinocchio friends, they look you in the face and say, no, I am doomed to be this way always. Unhealthily drinking, unhealthily smoking, unhealthily eating, unhealthily doing all. No, I'm not on Pinocchio's island, Maria. Why are you so boring? They don't want to face the music. And that means, like Patrick Chan points out, they're deep child part, which is really sad because if they did do something with Patrick Chan, he's an amazing therapist, they would get in the fetal position. Then they would have a whole community to talk to about how, wow, I was dating beneath myself because I had a bad radar. Wow, I went through this shit. I was adultified. Oh, look, they would be able to talk about things like I did with this guy who's telling me about this punishment that this little girl received. And I'm like, what? So compassion is the lead emotion for all of those of us who are in 5D and all those who are emotionally intelligent and heart intelligent. We thrive because we know exactly what it looks like when someone's doing shadow work. They're not working on it. That's it. They can do work with a therapist. When you're seeing people re-traumatize themselves or creating a little group, it's because they have pain points they share. Did you notice how they copy each other? And then they actually don't move into that which is the sweet results of open-ended inquiry. So they're not growing. That's why it's not fascinating to meet them online, and I make fun of them. I do like when I meet the grown-ups, the ones who are authentic, not the ones who are looking for pats on the back. The pats on the back, again, are the ones who are following, and then they praise down to their one master, and then that one master uses all the words, God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, or whatever words they've chosen. Then they say that they're the only rightful ones that know Resh, or any of that which is symbolism, and it's like, sure you do. You're not charming to me. You're a manipulative buffoon. As a luminous warrior ain't buffooned by a moron. And that's what happens when you got your own body and you love yourself first. Is like, we're all angels and you're not God. Sorry. Oh, and I'm a mystic, so I already saw what cosmic karmic balancing does. And luckily for me, I closed out my lovely cycle, Maria's, my past. I'm only in Dharma now, so I'm trying to maintain that balance. You can build good karma and you do Dharma. That's because I really don't want to, we won't go to the past, so it's okay. Let's think on our feet. So this was the quote I was reading. Sun Tzu, The Art of War. I have the book, by the way. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself, but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will also suffer defeat. What happens when you know yourself and other? We're all humans. Do you know how your heart works? Think on your feet. Good. So the lovely, smart therapist explained to me, everyone who doesn't heal is going to stay in adaptive child part, and they won't be at home in their body. So their unhealthy self-soothing mechanisms are their choice. I know love is all around, so our 5D collective gets to choose the middle ground, which is why it's fun. So we get to be the actual luminous warriors who are not warriors at all, in the sense of we know exactly what we won't be doing in our future. And I do come from the future, so don't worry. We're not actors. The ones who act, they like to use words, but then they don't do anything because they don't have compassion inside of them. Their body's not connected, and so they're not going to be watching and waiting and seeing what our beautiful life tomorrow brings to us as we sing our songs. Okay, so that's why self-reflection, the power of visualization, and mindful meditation, exercise and practices that we do through the podcast, the paid content, the free content, we chit chat. I get to tell you all about my diet soon and how horribly annoyed I am by it, but I bring to life that which is you practice what you preach. So sometimes life stings, yeah, but it's not really stinging. It's stinging for a lot of other people, which is why if one day we have mass murders from those places, I know why. Because in the meantime, we got a bunch of grown-ups who don't notice that sucking out the very essence and purity of children, that's not nice. And karma always balances itself out. So we get to be playful, the enlightened mystics, spiritual ones, because God always wins, and there's no monsters in town. Nope, there's only the earth. Please, dark matter, dark energy, don't implode. And if you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. So when people don't see the bigger picture and they don't notice that knowing others is intelligence, knowing yourself is true wisdom, this is Lao Tzu, mastering others is strength, mastering yourself is true power, they won't know how to trust the great mystery, and that's of life, and that's of God, and that's of everything, and transformation. But you don't transform if you don't have a body that's connected. So your body is connected. Now we got our prefrontal cortex. You can see clearly, and that's why you can sit silently in the body and take a leap of faith, which is why you don't suffer relationships, and you don't suffer life, and you don't suffer love, and you manifest the most powerful manifesting technique, going with the flow. So the main inner growth mindset program, there's an online course. The main modules are for free on the website, dealing with unknowns, uncertainties, unexpecteds, and unwanteds from within you with an open heart. We're all little angels, and going with the flow. And that's why you get to be the one who gets to be intelligent. And then you know how daily self-reflection, power visualization, podcast meditation to become your higher self work. And you also know why the higher self is just yourself. And the explanation is that you're self-led. Then if you're channeling and you're a downloader and all that, you don't get confused. And in fact, God, Akash, it's the same messages to all. I've noticed that. I just noticed that the ones who want to interpret it with their own unique spin, well, The perfect trio to being you: self-reflection, visualization, podcasts, so you can put into practice thoughts, feelings, hear about people who are like-hearted, like-minded, and like physically, but it's not because we're padding. It's because we have, again, a good relationship with all your child parts. So your self is whole, which is why mindful meditation practices work even while you're walking. We don't sit down under a tree because we don't want to. And so emotionally intelligent minds, again, we are definitely thriving thanks to having chosen to be our true selves, and we are with the intelligence of love, because all you need is love. Boom, boom, boom. All you need is love, love. The adapted child part is afraid of being abandoned. And that's why it's sad, because functional adults, they know that we all make mistakes. We're all flawed. We're all imperfect. And when we are having a challenge, the maladaptive patterns of behavior, the inner critic, outer critic, drinking, drugging, fucking, when people don't know how to have self-compassion, it's really hard. When they don't know how to use that which is their own, nervous system. That's why a hug is good, but so are the practices. But they need to want to live the healthy version of themselves. While unhealthy self-soothing mechanism people, like this avoidant who decided she's not going to do mindfulness, she's not going to do journaling, she's not going to go to therapy because people are all fucked up. And I'm like, that's not a good answer, and your shit is here, and you're going to keep longing because you're not actually understanding how you can't unwind it without being in the fetal position at some point, shape, or form or another. Because it's hard for a person that has childhood trauma to go get help and healing from a therapist like Patrick Chan. He says it. And it's because they didn't get the child-centric environment. So they don't actually notice. I ask, Gabor Mate says, why the pain? When not why the addiction. I ask, how is it that you don't wonder about how you treat yourself? Because see, you want to use the word love, you want to do relationships, all that. But then you don't notice how you're treating yourself. Yourself, not me, yourself. The minute you don't know how to treat yourself right, well, sure, your words can mean a million. No, they're just words. You've shown me what you're made of. The minute you start treating yourself as a word, having an answer doesn't make it better. It makes me think. When someone's like, but Maria, don't you know I suffer life? I know there's a solution to that. And someone said that because people are fucked up, they're not going to do it. And then I know that there's innocent children losing their innocence because of, well, again, stronger than you. Dysfunctional patterns are stronger than the people because their child parts are used to being in suffering. I don't need to suffer with you. I know how to use my nervous system and my brain, and that's why I'm an intelligent mind, and that's why I'm an intelligent heart. And I don't make up bullshit from my asshole because I learned from smart ones. And when I don't like what I hear, I'm okay with it. Like this nutritionist stuff. If it don't do what I want it to do, okay, I worked with it, but I have a hunch. So the point is, I don't know yet, but my lovely viewers, if you're intelligent, you know who is an actual professional who cares because you know how they work. On the other hand, if they're a professional who's just a bunch of words, it doesn't matter because you won't necessarily get what you're looking for, number one, because you're a smart consumer, obviously. So I'm so sorry, I forgot to mention it. When you don't know how to take care of yourself, you also don't know what to look for. My mother taught me all of these things, and then for as much as I complain about things, I know what the right things are to do because, grown-ups know some things. They don't know all things, and usually our ancestors have given us the foundation too. So it will typically confirm. And remember, it's not a one-size-fits-all. That's for personal spiritual growth and for any diet and for anything. So when you meet the ones who care, they know that. That's why they get detail-oriented around it. But not in a way of being obsessive. It's in a way of knowing their shit and knowing what to look for. So love is not about somebody. Love is not an act. Love is the way you are. And when you are able to use your body connected, that's when you're ready for what we do here. And that's because you also know what works and doesn't work. So like when my nervous system is triggered, thanks to the panic attacks, I know what's going to happen. I know how my energies are going to be, and then I know that it will be good, that I'll be fine. And that's actually something that, fine. I said fine because we are all uncomfortable with uncomfortableness, but we all say, okay, come on, let's use those mindfulness practices, focusing attention. Maximum certainty. I'm aware that I can breathe. Oh, look, let me bring in gratitude, kind intention. And that's why compassion, it's essential for yourself and for others. But the people who don't know how to do it, they're always afraid that they're going to be abandoned. And that's why it's not something that is just words. When people have healed, they come to you as whole people. So they match the words and they match the behavior and their common sense. So they don't do what my facade friends, all of them on Pinocchio's Island, do, which is, hey, Maria, so you're just going to have to allow us to be what is called between functional drug addicts, functional alcoholics, functional binge, whatever, all of it. Just bring it all in. And there's our 3D, 4D who's decided that they like to live life in a certain way. And while I know that I smoke cigars, drink a little wine, do a little dance, do all that, it's always moderately and with the body connected. So intelligent minds are intelligent hearts, and they don't do what they like or don't like. We do sometimes what we like, sometimes what we don't like, and the grown-ups are functional child adults. So when we look at the world, it's going to be okay because we have smart human beings out there. Oh, don't you worry about a thing. I know we do. I have no shadow of doubt. There's also other reasons, which I won't divulge. As a luminous warrior knows, some secrets, they don't get shared, and there's no words for them. It's a feeling, because we're clear cognizant, clear audient, clear everything. And also because, seriously, you don't tell people things. It's why you learn how to use silence. Silence is the biggest gift that you could ever have. An empowered feminine will tell you all about it, and that's because from the heart. And an empowered masculine. You have them both. We'll be back with some more. In the meantime, thanks for stopping by.